Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we have another card that utilises your decorative papers instead of toppers. And I thought I'd try to make a card in a design that I've used in the past. I want to say I've made, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 of these cards now. And in the past I've always used I think it's normally been one of the little book ofs as like a topper piece, but I think I can make this type of card using just some really nice decorative papers. So I'm going to get out my dies. I'm going to use square dies because I'm going to use a square piece of paper. I thought I'd use another one of these little sheets from this little design pad that I've got. But if this works, this will work for any decorative paper you've got whatsoever. Just cut it down to the size that you want and it should work. It's a little bit of a trial and error if I'm perfectly honest, but I really do think that this will work. So I'm going to get a sheet of paper from in here. I think I actually really like this one. Now, in the past when I've done this design, and I can't remember what this design is called, you would use a matching sheet of paper underneath this. But if you're using decorative pieces of paper, sometimes you might only receive one sheet of the same, and you may not be able to do this layered up like we would normally do, or certainly like I've done previously. So I'm going to see if we can get this to work with just one sheet of paper. And essentially what you're going to do is cut this into lots of different layers, and then you would have one lifted, one dropped, one lifted, one dropped, one lifted, one dropped. Now previously what you would do is have your dropped part of this design as being your base sheet, and then you would just lift part of the design instead and have like spare inserts. But I want to see if we can do it without doing that. It is a very much a trial and error video, this one, but I really do think that there's a possibility that this could work. So let's try and work out. I think that that's the nice size, so this must be the one. Yes, that's the one just slightly above. I'm slightly concerned that this pad is supposed to be 10 by 10 and my dies are square dies, and yet the sheet seems to be possibly bigger. Yeah, that's definitely not a square sheet, is it? That's rather deceptive, isn't it, guys? I could just tell with the way that was sitting. So let me try and cut this down a little bit. Doesn't even seem square, does it? Just make sure that that is cut all the way through. I mean, I don't even think that that sheet looks square, if I'm honest. Might be. Right, let's carry on. Sorry about that. Said it should be a square sheet of 10 by 10, but that sheet definitely was not 10 by 10, was it? So let's go back. Which did we decide? So slightly smaller than that one, so I would say that that one is the closer fit to being the exact size. Definitely appears to be more square now. If I'm totally honest with you, because of how unsquare that was, I think I might actually square this off by die cutting the entire thing. So we're going to miss what would be the next die in. That one? Yeah, so that one would be the next one, but we're going to miss that. Might actually just tape this down, you know. Get my low tack tape. I don't like to, but I don't want it to keep moving. Let's see how we go. So you miss the next layer and pop in the one after. So that's going to give me what would be my first raised layer. This one is the next one, so we're going to skip this one. Nope, not that one. Really need to get some magnetic sheets so I can get these more organised. That is the next one in. So we're going to put that one in. So that one is going to be a downward layer. And then that would be the next one. So we're going to skip that. That one is the next one. So we'll pop that one in there. So that one is going to be your up layer. Then that would be the next one. So we're going to skip that one. We're going to go for that one. So that one's your downward layer. And then, because I don't want to start getting too small, we'll have that one as our last up layer. Okay. So we've got no actual toppers. This is just a decorative paper pad. I've got some hunky-dory low tack tape. This is what I like to use on my die cutting. I have also used like washi tape and that, especially when I lost this. Down and committed. Capture all of those. Now, because of the size of this, I'm going to have to pop this through my Todo. So I will do that off screen because my Todo is behind me. Got to make sure that these don't move. So I'm going to pause the video. For you, it's going to be a second. For me, it's going to be a couple of minutes while I just run this through my die cutting machine, and I will be back. Right, I'm back. It took me a little bit longer than I thought it would, but what we now have on my cutting mat now is we have that piece of decorative paper that I've cut into these squares. I also, while I was at it, cut out a pink piece of card in the next size up and a piece of the rainbow mirror in the one up from that as well, so that we can get some really nice matte layers on here so that it's ready for this. What you're going to need is some 3D foam or some sort of 3D adhesive, and I have just some normal wet glue for this. See, that one works. So now this is very much a tester. I have never ever done this with decorative papers, but I'm trying to look at ways that we can use them similar to a topper, because some of these decorative papers are very, well, decorative, like they have a lot of patterning. So I'm going to build up this imagery on my pink piece of card. We'll move these up slightly so that we have this. I don't want to zoom too far out so you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this outer piece, some of my foam tape, and we're going to get some of this on here and get this stuck down to a pink piece of card. And then that way we can start to build this up. I think one of the more difficult pieces of this is going to be making sure that we have the design on right. Especially if you have a very fussy background paper. But let's give it a go. Put that there because we'll need some more of that later anyway. Peel off this backing. There we go. So it doesn't matter which way we stick this first piece down, to be fair, it only matters for the next one. So let's try and get this lined up. There we go. So that's our first piece down. Then this second one here, we need to try and work out which way it sits. So nope. But I think that could sit that way. It does look. So that sits in there like that. So I'm going to use my wet glue on this one because we want to stick this flat. Over, and this goes in here like so. So that is that layer in. Then we're going to take our next layer, and again we need to try and work out where this is going to sit. So I'm just looking at the way that that design goes. I think that's going to go in there like that. So for this one, we're going to use the 3D foam tape. So again, let's cut these off. Oops. Take off the backing, and we're going to stick this one down. There we go. This is going to sit in here. Just like so. And then we're going to go for this next piece. That's going to come down there, look. So we'll turn that over and just pop a bit of white glue on. down and into there. So you can see how this is starting to build up. So then we have this piece. Oh, I thought I'd measured, I thought I'd done that the right way. Doesn't matter, guys, it just means that my middle piece is going to be sat flat. It's perfectly fine. So we're going to pop these pieces on here. So ideally your centerpiece would be lifted, but for some reason when I was trying to make this work I have messed it up slightly. Mind you, I suppose I could cut that out on my little scissors actually. I wonder what size I'd need. Take this off. That definitely has to come down here, look. I really would like my centre to be lifted, so here's how you fix it. Just get another die out your die pack. It's entirely my fault. Let's see, this one on. Nope, not that one. So that means I have a feeling it's going to be this teeny tiny little bitty piece. But that is a-okay. So we'll get that in the middle. Like so. We'll take a bit of this. Oh, I thought that moved. There we go. I'm not going to pause you for this one because I can pop this through my little scissor sidekick and put that out perfectly. Put that up there out the way. You never know when you might need it again. There we go. It's a really dinky piece, but it just means that I get that centre that's lifted. Right, then we bring this back. I'm going to put that in there like so. Stick that down. And then we're going to take this and with a really tiny piece of foam tape. This is a bit that I actually cut off from another project and I always keep them because you never know when they might come in handy. I'm going to stick this down. And this is going to go in there, like so. There we go. Not perfect, but you can see the effect that I'm going for with that. That isn't a topper. I've made it into a topper, but it isn't an official topper. I don't like what I've done with the pink background. It's not on level. So I'm just going to go in with my big scissors and totally chop that away. And have it as like a hidden piece. As long as you don't touch that topper, you won't, well, it's not topper. As long as you don't touch the decorative papers, it's absolutely fine. Look. There we go. So I have now just turned a piece of paper into a decorative topper. You can still see the pink underneath, look, that's absolutely fine. You just can't see it from here. So we have our piece of mirror. So that's going to sit on there. And you really would not know any different. We'll just use some wet glue just because it's here and it's easy. I say, you know, I don't know what's up with these. I think it's the glue itself. I have been thinking about buying some of the Nuvo glue. Seen lots of people using that. I don't know if my wet glue is just like going off. This one's working. Nope, this one's now also stopped. I've just filled this. This is a brand new filled bottle. Hold on. We'll use some of this one instead. It's not my favourite, but it is wet glue, which is what I've started with. I think the glue in my big bottle that I used to fill them up with might be gone. But this will do the job for now. I have to get some more. I've seen that lots of people use the Nuvo one, so thinking about maybe putting in an order for some Nuvo wet glue. Let me know what you think. It's the one in the white bottle. If they do any different, I'm not sure, but get that stuck down on there. And that is essentially your created topper. So it's not a topper in itself, but you have now made it. And this is the sort of thing that you can almost like make in bulk. So like if you've got a scrap piece of paper, let's say you've got some 12 by 12 or 8 by 8, or you've cut a bit off and you've got a big piece of decorative paper and you just don't know where else you would use it because you don't think it would match anything else, do something like this. I think I might make this on a 5 by 5. Oh, I've got some out, I can't see it, so let me just grab a 5 by 5 card blank. Put that on there. We do have a white border, but I'm quite happy having a white border, to be fair. On there like that. And then we can grab a sentiment and we'll grab one. Apologies, I'm not feeling too good today. I can grab one out of my sentiments box, to be fair. I've got a really big tub of spare sentiments. Let's just use one of these, you know. Got lots of these, so I'll just grab one of these at the very bottom, to be fair. I think that's quite a nice sentiment. we could always lift this up slightly. I'm not going to decoupage this up, to be fair. But I am going to decoupage up that sentiment on there like that. So, let's make sure that that's kind of stuck down. Bringing this with me having slowly but surely running out of wet glue that I like. Oh, I'm out. Oh my god, this is a disaster video. 1 second, let me just replace this. There we go. Only takes a couple of minutes anyway. I'm pretty quick at doing that now. And luckily I had a spare one. Though that one is my last one, so I'm going to have to put another order in now. So just make sure that none of that adhesive is showing. I'm going to bring back my card. I might do it that way actually. And the fun thing with having decorative paper instead of a topper, there's no actual right or wrong way to have this. So you can have it sat on your card whichever way you feel is right. So I'm going to have it that way up. Make sure that's stuck down. To make sure that the other piece is also stuck down. And then we have the sentiment, and I'm going to use just a couple of these. Happy birthday. And there we go. Super simple. I'm really glad that that worked because I've never tried that with just decorative papers before. I have always used a topper, but I think that that really works. Obviously, if you have got 2 sheets the same, you can do it as I would do on one of my little book ofs where you have the matching sheet underneath. That's absolutely fine. Or, as proven here today, you don't have to if you don't want to. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it gives you some inspiration on how to use your decorative papers. I know it can be really, really tough, and I am going to keep bringing them. I am going to keep bringing them as individual cards, but what I may also do, if there's enough interest, is try and do some of them again in a combined video and maybe have it sped up, maybe a little bit of music, or maybe just like soundless, just so that they're all in one place as well. I'm conscious that this one is lifting from where I've used that wet glue because I don't like that hunky-dory one. It's not a tacky glue. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. Bye for now.